Welcome to another AAC Activist Chat live stream. I am very excited to talk with well-known animal rescuer John Debacker. My name is Michelle Granberg. I'm your host. For those new to AAC, AAC was created to help activists increase their effectiveness by equipping them with the tools, community, and resources they need to boldly participate in our global animal liberation movement. Founded in 2020, AAC offers a free 3-month mentorship program, which pairs experienced activists with aspiring activists. You can apply today to become a mentor or mentee through our website, which we'll put in the comments. Plus, we are more than a mentorship program. We offer free educational live streams and online trainings. We have a podcast called the Animal Liberation Hour, and we host large-scale in-person collaborative activism events around the country. AAC is a support system and a resource designed to empower grassroots activism. And a reminder, it is time to register for our New York City Fur Free Weekend, November 27th through the 30th, 2025, 4 days of back-to-back actions for animals. And we'll put the link tree in the comments. All right, so on to our guest. Our guest, John Debacker, is a wildlife and domestic animal rescuer specializing in stray cats. He is vice president of Long Island Cat and Kitten Solution, a nonprofit organization focused on animal welfare. He has gained local and international media attention for his dedication and involvement in numerous challenging emergency animal rescues. And John, we'll take your questions in a bit. Please be kind to each other in the comments, folks, and stay on topic. But before we bring John on, we want to show you some examples of John's nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat rescues. These are from his YouTube channel, which you can visit. So if we're ready, here's John in action.
It's alive.
Yep. Okay, sweetheart, I gotcha. Come on up, John. Yeah. He's attached to my wrist. Okay. Please let go, sweetheart.
Thank you, thank you.
Let go, sweetie.
Right, good. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to assess him? Let's bring him down first and we'll assess him.
You
have a hook right there.
Boy, you guys came prepared here.
All right, Jim.
No, I can't do that to John.
Oh. We'll keep him.
Yeah, right.
Okay. This is going to be the tricky part.
I'm going to go into that one.
Oh, the heavy work's done now. What are you winning?
The cat's in the cage,
So
right?
you had it under control, Jim.
Breathe in. Suck it in.
You all right?
Yep. Okay. Oh, wait, I'm caught. Okay.
Got him?
Okay.
I got him.
Too soon. And then he snuck in the other
I
way.
think he's injured.
Stay out of trouble.
All you gotta do is I think do these things over here. You gotta unhook this over here.
Listen, don't put your hand there. You gotta be backs up.
Okay. Well, he's out of the car right now.
Is that little guy or big guy?
It's a baby. It's a young one, yeah. Just make sure it doesn't go backwards.
Try not to go backwards, right? It's gonna go forward.
Yeah. Yeah, go forward a tiny bit.
I covered it so the sun.
Okay. Okay.
You can go a little more. You can go another foot.
Yeah, a little more.
A little more.
A little more.
Yeah, a tiny bit more. A tiny bit more. Yep. Okay. Come down. Come down.
Oh, you think he's got around? Or you want to leave him?
It's a young one. I'm just making sure it's not injured. Oh, calm down. Okay.
Here goes.
Yep. Okay. All good.
Good.
Now, big reveal, you're here. So unmute yourself and join us. Hey, John.
Hi guys.
Yay.
Sorry, I'm trying to wave. Hi, thanks for having me.
Welcome. John, what is your YouTube channel so people can go over there after this? And
Sure,
see
yeah.
what-
My YouTube channel is John the Cat Guy. My Instagram is John Traps Cats, and my Facebook is John Debacker, which is the most active.
Okay. Perfect. So people can go check out because I'm not sure they were able to see the videos, but I'm just so glad to have you here. I've really been looking forward to this. And you and I met briefly in person because you spoke at the Animal Rights March in New York City back in September.
Correct, yeah. That was interesting. That was actually my first speech of that size.
What was that like? I bet it was a little nerve-wracking, but it worked out fine.
Yeah, it was a little nerve wracking, yeah, but it was fine in the end. It wasn't that bad.
Good. Yes, it's a lot more nerve-wracking rescuing animals on a busy highway, maybe. Or
No.
maybe public speaking is more nerve-wracking than saving
Yeah,
an
no, public speaking is more nerve wracking, believe it or not. I actually I'm so used to rescuing animals that like doesn't even faze me anymore.
That is so funny. Other people would be the opposite, right? But public speaking is one of the top 3, they say, biggest fears that people have is public speaking. But anyway, moving on to that, I want to start by asking you your animal advocacy origin story. In other words, what's the earliest experience you remember about being interested in helping animals, and how did you get into rescue full time?
So when I was in high school, actually, I think in bio class, I remember one of my teachers put on a film that I vividly remember was horrible. It was actually a documentary of inside a slaughterhouse of cows being murdered. At the time, I pretty much stopped eating meat straight from there, so I started as a vegetarian. A few years later, I learned the truth about the dairy industry, and then a few years later, I stopped eating dairy. So after that, I became full-on vegan. That was around 15 years ago or so, 15 to 20 years ago. And then I started TNR because the neighbor around the block from me actually abandoned four indoor cats. So I helped trap them, get them to a rescue called Bobby and the Strays Rescue. And from there, I started TNR and trapping wildlife and domestic animals on the streets.
So doing what you're doing now, did it basically get started because you built up a reputation, I guess, for being successful, like for being able to be this cat whisperer and save so many that you started getting calls and that just gradually led to just doing it more and more and then making it something that you can, be supported in?
Correct. Yeah, I'm in a group called I started in a group called the Long Island Stray and Feral Sharing Community Group, and I started getting tagged in every single post, I started getting messaged about every single animal situation, and I didn't have a job at the time. I still don't have a job. I'm a full-time Facebook influencer, full-time animal rescuer, so I'm able to do this full-time, and it just grew from there. People in other states actually reach out to me from here from time to time, and I still get tagged and messaged about literally every situation. I don't mind, but I can only do so much as one person, so I
Yeah.
do as much as I can as a single person.
Yeah. It's amazing how word gets around, because I'll tell you what you do is so rare. It really fills a gap, and it really is, really needed.
Yeah, we definitely animal rescuers are definitely needed. We have such a shortage of animal rescuers. There's so many people that harm animals.
So how many years have you been doing it, like kind of full time most of the time?
Straight out of high school, I started TNR, so around 15 to 20 years now. Well, I'm
Nice.
30. Yeah, I'm 32 years old, so maybe around
Yeah.
15.
Nice. Yeah. So we want to inspire people to be rescuers. And as you were saying to me a little earlier before we came on, anybody can be a rescuer. It just takes doing it and practicing and
Yeah,
knowing
there's
how to
no
do it.
special. Yeah, there's no special skill, no license needed to be a rescuer. Anyone's capable of saving an animal. You don't. Yeah, pretty much what you just said.
So let's talk a bit about your organization that you're part of, which is Long Island Cat and Kitten Solution, which is a nonprofit. Why did you start that? What is the goal and mission?
Correct. Yeah, actually, the rescue was actually founded back in 2008, I believe, and they were actually disbanding it back in 2020. So the president of the time offered me the position. So my friend Shelly and we took over the rescue, and been pretty successful. I don't typically do adoptions. She does the adoption part. I do the trapping and rescuing on the street part, and I work
Hmm.
very closely with other rescues that do adoptions. And our goal is to fix and save as many animals as humanly possible.
Yep, save as many as possible. And it definitely takes a team and it takes a village. You're doing that hands-on work, and she is also. But yeah,
Correct. Yeah,
definitely.
teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes, as they say. It's so true. Yeah, so what are like some of the misconceptions about rescue when people hear that you rescue animals and they don't know anything about it? What do they mostly people misunderstand about rescue?
Well, like we just said, people think that we need like a special skill or a license to save animals to do trapping, but it's actually not the case. The only license that's really needed is to rehab wildlife. But if you're just trapping and saving an animal on a highway, you don't really need any special skill. Just call the police, let them stop traffic, and then just save the animal. I post my videos on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram for education purposes, so anyone's able to really get involved.
Nice. Yeah, I almost think that your videos are like a tutorial, for giving people tips, gives people's ideas how to use certain traps, and how to use a towel just to just to make them feel safe, and how to there's just so much in there that people can learn just from watching. So I really encourage people to follow you if they're not already following you. You have a lot of
Correct
followers,
it.
but
Yeah, and actually, sometimes when I post videos, when you're doing a rescue, sometimes it's just so stressful that you don't think of some stuff. So sometimes people will offer me tips on how it could have been done better, which I don't
okay.
mind if it's said like politely, but it's when people get nasty is when I have an issue. But if
Yeah.
people like offer tips politely, I really don't mind that.
Yeah,
we all have the same goal in mind, to save the animals.
yeah, yeah, right. Nobody, one person knows it all, so we can learn from one another. We're in it together, but that stinks when you get criticism. It's like, you know. But
Yeah,
anyway, such as it is, that's humans, not the animals.
yeah,
Animals never criticize. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Constructive criticism is fine. It's the drama that's unnecessary.
that's right. That's completely unnecessary. So we gotta check that. Right. Anyway, so you have gotten a bunch of media, yes, and that's good because again, it's spreading what you do even further and wider. But what do you think about the media that you've been getting, and what has it done for your ability to rescue? Have you gotten more supporters out of the media I've gotten? And is there any time when the media has not been so great or misconstrued what you're doing or gotten in the way?
Yeah, the media definitely helps spread awareness. I haven't had any negative effects, but it does bring a lot of supporters. But along with the supporters comes haters. But I have more supporters, thankfully, and it definitely helps with the goal of saving animals. Spreads awareness, which is what we need.
Yeah. It's always a great day when the animals get media coverage.
Correct.
It
Yeah.
really is. Even if it's typically wildlife and domestic animals, of course. Farm animals never get any media, but that's why we're here.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Anyway,
bad news. There's a lot of bad news on the media lately, so it's always good to have good news on it.
yeah. Yes, I'm sure that's why they seek you out too, because it's a heartwarming, life affirming story because it has a happy ending.
Oh yeah.
Which,
I also want to add that people often think that I reach out to the media, which isn't always the case. The media actually finds me for my post. They actually comment sometimes, asking if they have permission to use my videos. Sometimes they email me because we've worked together in the past.
okay, well, I'm glad you cleared that up. But for the most part, they're now following you, the media. That's
No,
great.
no, they are following me. That's how they reach out to me sometimes.
Oh, that's how they reach out to you through your social
Yeah,
media. Then you're on their
the
radar
media.
screen.
What was that?
I said you're on their radar screen probably because so many people follow you as well.
Correct. Yeah. I actually
Yeah.
a few months ago I woke up at 4 a.m. and I got an email from News 12. They were actually looking to interview me about an animal abuse case, which I did interview them. I went
Why
to
didn't you call me at that time?
well, they emailed me, so
Oh,
it was
they
about an
emailed.
animal abuse case. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that leads me to ask you, on average, I know you don't track all of your numbers. I get right, but how many calls do you tend to get a day, sort of, or a week, or a month? And then we can kind of average that out to yearly. And how many calls come in the middle of the night?
Yeah, I get calls all day long, even in the middle of the night. Some days are busier than others with emergency calls. I can get a few dozen emergency calls a day, but unfortunately, I can't handle them all as a single person, so I do have to refer them out to other people sometimes.
Mm.
I can, so I don't have an exact number, but I can get a few dozen a day, a few hundred a week.
Wow. How
Yeah,
do you decide?
and sorry, in the middle of those emergency calls, I also do routine trappings with just a cat that needs to be trapped to be fixed, spayed and neutered.
Mm. So is it just a timing thing for you to decide, or is it you prioritize the greatest emergencies in terms of who you go out and help?
I pretty much prioritize the emergency case. Like an animal on a highway is the highest emergency case in existence because any wrong move, the animal will run in front of a passing car. So that's the highest priority. And I'll pretty much respond anytime, anywhere to that call.
Mm. And how far are you willing to travel, or how far have you had to travel?
I try to stay within a half an hour, but driving distance. But I have gone up to 2 hours driving distance each way. So I don't like doing long distance calls because then it just most of the time I'm doing driving and then it takes away from other calls.
Yeah. Yeah. You spend more time driving to get there and you'll be too late sometimes.
Yeah, so I try, if it's too far, I try to refer to local rescuers.
Yeah. So speaking of that, I know that there are lots of rescue groups and organizations, and some are better than others, and some are they're all different. So it's always good to get to know your rescue group communities. But overall, what's your experience been with the rescue community in uh, Long Island, or even or beyond Long Island nationally?
Yeah, I work very closely with just about every rescue in Long Island, like Last Hope Animal Rescue, All About Cats, Shabby Tabby, Hearts of Love. Just there's too many to name, but I work very closely with every rescue on Long Island, or most of them. Every rescuer and rescue should work together for the betterment of the animals. I do the trapping and catching part, and they do the adoption part. So it's pretty much we're all on the same team.
Nice, nice. Yeah,
Yeah, if
important.
I
You couldn't do it without them.
correct, yeah, if I had to spend time like screening all the adopters, I wouldn't have time to rescue the animals.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. I mean, talking about how greatly fosters are needed, how much adopters are needed, and how much rehabilitation of the cats and socializing them. Right, that's a whole other thing. I know you don't deal as much in that part though, but you mentioned a
Correct, yeah,
few that do.
correct, yeah, the rescues that do adoptions, they do thorough screening, they do background checks, like they do vet reference checks, and they just make sure the animals will end up in a good home, make sure they don't end up in a hoarder's house with like 50 other cats. A lot of times rescues do like virtual home visits. Sometimes they do in-person home visits,
Mm,
and I wouldn't have time to do that and rescue at the same time.
yeah, you can't be all things for all people and be in all places at once. That's for sure. So let's dive a little bit into. I know you've done so many rescues. You say that it's a little blurry. One bleeds into the other, and it's hard to remember specifically unless maybe you're reminded. And it might be that the people who watch your videos remember them more than you do, but but we remind you of that. But you know, maybe just talk about first of all your most recent, like the one that's fresh on the top of your mind. What's one of your most examples of an average recent rescue?
Well, today I actually netted a really injured cat. It was brought to the vet with a really large abscess on its cheek. I'm unsure of the current status of the cat, but the finder or caretaker brought that cat to the vet, so I'm not really sure the status of that cat right now. And I've done many highway rescues, many cats in trees, cats in sewers, and just cats in dangerous predicaments. Highway rescues are always the most dangerous rescue because people drive crazy these days. So you never know if a person's going to be paying attention. And you never know what the animal's next move is going to be. Sometimes they run from you, sometimes they just freeze in fear.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine the adrenaline that must be pumping through you when that is going on, and yet you're focused on the job at hand. But do you ever, I mean, maybe you're just so focused that you don't think about your life being in danger,
Well,
what.
yeah, well, during the rescue, I'm usually fine. After the rescue, I get a huge adrenaline rush that I sometimes just have to sit down for like 20 minutes
Yeah.
just to catch my breath and think about what just happened. They um they are pretty dangerous and risky and not as easy as I make them look to be.
So you were saying, like, you have a theory why cats wind up on the roadway, on, like, they literally wind up on the medians sometimes, or they wind up on railroad tracks. Like, what is your you know theories on, or do you know why they wind up there, how they get there?
Yeah, on the train tracks, I'm not really sure. I guess they just wander onto the train tracks. But in terms of the highways, a lot of people think that people just throw cats out of their car windows, which I don't believe is the case. I believe that cats fall off car engines or the underbellies of cars. I've been getting a lot of calls almost every day and every week of cats screaming from underneath the car and inside a car engine in the underbelly of a car. So I believe they fall off on the highway in the wrong spot, and then they just freeze in fear. That's my theory. I don't believe people are that cruel that they would just throw them out the window on the side of the highway.
Yeah, they do get dumped, of course, but maybe not on the highway as much.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they cats get dumped a lot, but I don't feel that a person would go out of their way to drive down a highway just to throw them out the window.
Ugh, that's extra psycho to do if they did that. But I want to talk a little bit more, like, about cats getting into the engines of cars and what we want people to know about that. But before, because you mentioned that cats get up in trees very often, so there's a misconception, right, that cats can get out of trees on their own, right? And they can't, because
correct?
Am I right?
Cats.
They can
Yeah,
get
cats
up.
can. Correct. Yeah, cats climb up trees. They often chase an animal, or an animal chases them up a tree. But in order for them to go down, their claws don't rotate like a raccoon. They have to climb down a tree backwards, and a lot of times they're just too terrified to do that. So they, after time, I mean, if you give them enough time, it is possible for them to get down a tree, but they're often just too terrified to.
One of the best videos. Go ahead.
Sorry, one more thing. I've had a cat stuck in a tree for a week at a time, so it's they definitely need help. Yeah, people a lot of times firefighters say you never see a cat skeleton in a tree, but that's because if a cat died in a tree, the body would fall to the ground. It's not like the body would stay on the tree limb.
And did you say they can't get out of the tree because they're bottom heavy?
No, because they have to climb down a tree backwards for the cat to climb down. Like a raccoon can climb down forward and backwards, or a squirrel. Yeah.
That's not built to do that.
Correct. Yeah, their claws are built differently.
So there's that one video. This must have been one of the ones that went really viral, where you're up the tree, and the cat fell right as you were reaching. The cat fell, and you caught the cat open-handed. Like, you couldn't do that twice if you, like, do you remember that? Like, that was amazing. And the fact that you caught
that was my most memorable rescue. His name is Oakley, and that cat was seen as far as Brazil, and pretty much it was screaming 40 feet up a tree. I climbed up as far as I could with my 20-foot ladder, and I couldn't reach him. So eventually, trying to coax the cat down, the cat just jumped right into my arms, and that was just my most craziest rescue to date. And it's actually on a few T-shirts, Catch of the Year or something. It's actually on my back of my jacket right now.
Catch of the Year. Oh my God, yeah. So that's probably one of your most viral, because I know you said you have a few videos of your rescues that have been seen by millions of people, and that's definitely one of them. I mean, that's good TV. That really is. I mean,
correct.
It probably was a nail biter, like, you probably.
I actually think that. I actually think the Oakley was picked up by a Japanese news network also. I vaguely remember a Japanese news network airing the video. And Brazil.
Right. Yeah, so that went internationally viral.
Yeah. People a lot of times, it actually was reposted on the Dodo today, and people still think it's fake, even with the video being posted several times.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, I guess, how good the rescue was. And people think I was holding my phone filming while it jumped, but I had a body-worn camera on. At the time, I was using a GoPro camera on my head. But nowadays, I use these glasses. These glasses have a camera built into them.
I think that's so fascinating, because you just told me that. Like, I assumed it was a GoPro. Maybe you said it was in the beginning on your head. But, the way that the camera is such a great camera, too. How did you come to know that that was the best way to capture the footage, your rescue footage? I guess because you wear glasses anyway.
Yeah, I was actually last year I was actually researching like camera glasses, and these came up, and the quality of these of the footage with these glasses is just incredible. I couldn't think of anything better.
All right, so that's a big tip, folks. Get you some camera glasses. But
Yeah,
you said that,
or if you can't afford a camera glasses, then you can always get a GoPro. But actually, I think these glasses are cheaper than a GoPro anyway.
oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. And you said people have accused you of it being a fake video, of it being AI. Well, if they're gonna, if they need to know that kind of thing, the heck with them, it doesn't matter. But they are all real, every single one. Incredible.
Correct. Yeah, there's a lot of trolls on my page also with the supporters, and a lot of times people accuse the videos of being fake or edited, but all my videos are legit. I don't have time to edit videos like that.
Okay. Yeah. So, are there any other rescues that really stand out in your mind? One where you doubted whether you would succeed and you did, or there was the one we just tried to show, which was the raccoon caught in that. I don't know what that was. And then there's the cat in the sewer. So anything you want to share around ones that you remember that stand out?
Yeah, Wanda, the kitten on the Wanto Parkway, is one of my most memorable rescues. Also, it was seen along the center divider of the Wanto Parkway last year, and I made a 30-minute drive, and it was still there after I got there. After 30 minutes, I was just cowering in fear. So I called the state police. They shut down the highway, and I went over to grab the kitten, but he bolted, so I kind of gave him a little foot pursuit, and I caught up to him and dropped the net right on him. She's since been adopted by the person who made the call. That was a pretty wild rescue.
Hmm. Yeah, it
Her
really
name
is.
was Wanda. Her name was Wanda for the Wanto Parkway.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, people can find that one on all your social media and on YouTube. But that makes me think, like, how helpful are the police overall? I guess it's different certainly each time, but do you find the police overall to be helpful and to get out there and stop traffic? If there's, of course, there has to be time to ask them to do that. That's not always the case, right?
Correct. Yeah, yeah. The police actually have been a huge help to me. A lot of times, the police actually called me. Just a few days ago, an officer with the Nassau County Police Department reached out to me about an injured hawk on the side of the Wanto Parkway, and if they don't reach out to me, I call them. I usually call the 911 or the non-emergency hotline, and I also have a lot of cop friends in my contacts, so I just sometimes text them if they can assist. But if none of them are available, I just call the hotline, and they usually respond. But sometimes you will get a cop that's not so nice, and then you'll just have to deal with it when the cop gets there. But more often than not, they're helpful.
That's good to hear. Hopefully they're there to serve animals too. Yeah, I'm sure we.
Yeah, there's a lot of most cops are pet owners themselves, so they really care about animals also.
Great. Yeah. So
Sorry, one more thing. A few times when a cop was helping, they actually adopted the animal from me. There was a cat in a sewer a few years ago after a hurricane, Henrietta. The cop that was on scene helping actually adopted the cat, and I'm in contact with her still to this day.
wow, 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 wow. Oh man, I love that. I love those happy stories. That's just amazing. Those are great, really great stories. And I'm sure we have lots of folks, if you're in the comment section and watching us live, feel free to tell others about your rescue stories that you've been involved in. Feel free to comment those. And if you have any comments for John, that I can certainly read them to him as well. We do have one question here, which from Lewis. Which species do you rescue the most?
I am mostly known as the cat guy, so I would say that would be cats and kittens.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's mainly because of the volume of cats.
Yeah,
A lot of it.
I just start correct. Yeah, I just started off rescuing cats, so I just became known as the cat guy. And from rescuing cats, I just gradually started rescuing wildlife.
Yeah, so let's talk about cats. Let's talk about these amazing felines. And John, why does this country have such a cat population problem?
Yeah, I believe there's not enough people spay and neutering. There's actually some religions that don't believe in spay neutering, and one female cat can have up to 3 litters a year, and each litter can have up to 8 kittens. So after when those 8 kittens grow up to be around 4 months old, they can become pregnant at 4 months old and have kittens of their own, and then the population just becomes out of hand from there. We need more people getting involved with TNR, spay and neutering their pets. There's no reason that any animals should be left unfixed. There's also some health benefits.
Mm. Yeah, so the cats are just basically following their instincts to procreate, and if they're not spay or neutered, then just exponentially increase that population.
Yeah,
It's
and by
awful.
neutering the males, it also prevents them from fighting, so there'll be less injured cats, and they'll stop them from roaming. Because an unneutered male cat can travel for miles to find a female in heat.
Mm.
So neutering will reduce those urges and reduce the fighting.
Yeah, you said they'll be less aggressive without those hormones that
Correct.
are
Yeah.
raging. So as you know, cats wind up in the darndest places. It's like they can squeeze into places and they can climb and all of that. And as you were saying, one of the most common problems is that cats get found inside cars. Why? They go in there for warmth, I guess, and for shelter. And so, talk about why that's so common and how can we help the kitties that go in our engines? How can we avoid it if possible?
Yeah. So cats and kittens actually climb in cars to seek warmth during the winter months, but also I've found it very common in the warmer months also because they want to seek safety and shelter.
Mm.
And then the driver unknowingly drives the car with the cat in there, and they could end up miles away from where they started, and the cat doesn't know where they're at now, so they start screaming and meowing, and alerts the alerts the car's owner, which is when I'm usually contacted or other rescuers are contacted, and sometimes it could take hours to free the kitten or cat.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's also, like I said before, that's also how they end up on highways, I believe, is when they fall off while a person is driving without knowing their cat is in the car's engine or underbelly of the car.
Yeah. Is that some of your most difficult rescues in terms of, because you said sometimes they're so scared, especially kittens, they're so scared that they won't climb out, right? And they really get themselves in a place where they're cornered.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider a car engine rescue my most difficult. It's definitely the most time consuming rescue because it
Mm,
definitely takes time. I would still consider my most difficult rescues the highway rescues and the tree rescues
right.
just because of the danger involved.
Yeah. Well, we welcome people to comment if you've ever had a cat climb up into your car engine or anything like that. Certainly share your stories that hopefully, do have a happy ending. Um, and, we can't prevent that completely. We were saying, even if you bang on the hood, right, or honk your horn, you could check your engine, but you still might not see them. But we want folks to be careful and mindful.
Yeah, when I'm rescuing a kitten in the underbelly of a car, sometimes I'm all the way in the car and my hand is like right next to the cat and they're still not budging. So as much as you try to scare them out, unfortunately there's only so much that you can do. So honking your horn or banging the hood usually won't work, but you can definitely try it.
Yeah, I guess you just have to be patient during those times and hope that they're food motivated too. Like, what are the tools of a cat rescuer? You need a net, you need the traps, these humane traps, a drop trap, and the other kind of trap, and food, a lot of cat food to get them, right?
Correct. Yeah, nets. Yeah, pretty much what you just said. And cameras. Trail cameras are definitely a good tool. Flashlights. Um, towels are needed. Sheets are needed. The little crowbars are sometimes needed to lift up like sewers. There's a whole variety of tools that you'll need to be a rescuer. Towels I found are the most effective tool in rescuing an animal because once you cover
Mm,
their head and they can't see you, then they pretty much calm down.
yeah. Yeah, that's always amazing. You have to cover the traps too, and then they calm down. But even if you wrap them like a burrito, that it tends to elicit a calming effect, I guess.
Correct, yeah. And if you're not able to cover them completely, then you can always grab behind their neck, known as the scruff. It makes them
Yes.
limp, and it's how the mothers carry them when they're a baby. So people think it hurts them, but it really doesn't hurt them.
Mm. Indeed. So much. This is such great education. Watching your videos, as you said, is such great education. We learn about kittens and cats. So let's talk about like what a cat colony is, because we hear that. Maybe people don't know what that means. I know that people have colonies that they feed, and that's life-saving. That's life-saving work as well. Having a colony that you're committed to and that you feed. But what is a cat colony?
Correct, yeah. Cat colony is basically just a group of cats that live in a set location. Because cats are territorial, so it's unlikely they'll let a new cat in their colony. It usually starts off with one or two cats, and then those cats give birth and have kittens and offspring, and then those kittens grow up, and then pretty much the colony forms from there. Cats are very territorial animals, so that they usually won't let in another cat in their colony.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's one form of rescue or life-saving work that people can get involved in. They can learn more about is to adopt a colony, right? They live outdoors, but they rely on. And if you don't feed the colony cats, that's where you see them going after birds more, right?
Correct. Yeah. If you don't feed them, they'll go after you. They'll like scour food in your garbage pails, tip over your pails, kill animals, and it's just better to feed the animals, better to feed the cats.
Yeah. So what's the difference between a stray cat and a feral cat? Because some people think that that is one and the same, but it's not.
Yeah. So a feral cat is a cat that's been born outside and never been socialized, completely feral, and will not let you touch them at all. A stray cat is a cat that's likely been domesticated at one time and been abandoned, so they sometimes they're more friendly.
Right. Yeah, ferals are basically what, well, right, like you said, I'll just repeat what you said, what born in the wild, and they are wild animals. Doesn't mean that does that mean that they can never be socialized, domesticated, sort of, or it just depends? Or,
A feral cat can take years to socialize. A full-on feral cat could take years to socialize, and most rescuers, they do high volume, so they don't have the resources to socialize a full-on feral cat
mm,
with the amount of animals outside that need help. Because if you spend years socializing a full-on feral cat, then that's so many animals that won't receive help
right.
if you take away those resources.
Yeah, because sometimes people see it and they think that's not humane. You're releasing, well, the cats are, you're feeding them, so keeping them in the wild rather than catching them. But that leads us to TNR or TNVR, which I know that you support and advocate for. And TNR is aimed at reducing the stray and feral populations. It's neutering and then returning back to their familiar surroundings. So, what is your message in terms of why TNR is crucial?
Yeah, trap neuter return is extremely important because a lot feral cats, they don't enjoy being in captivity. They're even though cats are domestic animals, they feral cats act like wild animals. So the best thing for a full-on feral cat is to trap them, fix them, spay neutering them, and then returning them back to the same location. But never relocate a feral cat because they'll be lost and they won't know where they're at, and that's inhumane.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's just trying to break the cycle. It's trying to break the kitten population cycle.
Yeah,
It's the
eventually
best way to do it.
after all the cats are fixed in the colony, eventually the colony will like die down naturally from natural causes. So,
Mm.
well, unfortunately, sometimes they do get hit by cars and stuff like that, but that
For
people
predators.
just have to drive.
Yeah,
Yeah, people just have to drive more carefully, and people can provide outdoor cat shelters for them.
right. Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you think would be the first step if somebody hears this and they want to start doing TNR in their community? Any place that you would direct them first?
I mean, I don't. Everyone's from a different location, so they first have to research the nearest spay neuter clinic. After they find the spay neuter clinic they like, they can go online, purchase a humane trap, and then start trapping the cat according to the appointment. I would trap a feral cat, only a day before the appointment. I wouldn't keep him in the trap too long, because males need 24 hours to recover, while girls need 3 to 5 days, sometimes longer if they're pregnant or have other complications.
We're open to questions from folks in the comment section, but I wanted to talk a bit about wildlife now, because I know obviously you also rescue wildlife. It's also a big part of what you do, and people always run across wildlife that need help. And I don't always know what to tell people. I try, but talk about saving wildlife, what you do with that, and talk about what a rehabber is, what a rehabber does. They are licensed. It's a state by state licensing. And what does that mean? What does that mean with your license as a wildlife rehabber?
Correct. Yeah, I am a New York State licensed wildlife rehabber, and wildlife cannot cross state lines. It actually is illegal to cross state lines with wildlife. And even though I am a licensed rehabber, I don't rehab wildlife. I still stick with cats, but I'm not going to just ignore an injured like raccoon, injured possum on the side of the road. So I will. I'm very close with just about every rehabber on Long Island, and they work around the clock, feeding and caring for the animal. I rescue injured raccoons, injured possums, if they're sick, if they're orphaned, like if the mother was hit by a car or died. A lot of times I get calls for dead possums with babies attached to their pouch, and then I bring them to a licensed rehabber, and they take care of the babies until they are big enough to release into the wild.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's appreciated. In terms of any tips for people, a lot of it is you just have to get experience and learn from watching your videos. Really amazing, the videos saving possums and raccoons and birds. Um,
I also,
and
sorry,
Go ahead.
one other thing. I also get a lot of calls for wildlife and domestic animals with their head stuck in a jar. A lot of times
I
they're,
was just going to ask about that one, the one with the raccoon
oh,
that was stuck on the roof with the jar on his head.
oh yeah. Yeah, they a lot of times they're scouring for food and they put their head too far in the jar to lick out the bottom of the jar, and then they just can't get themselves out. They can go for a few days with their head stuck in a jar with limited air.
You know what? All I can do is just put myself in that raccoon's place. I have so much empathy just imagining what it's like. I am claustrophobic for 2 seconds, and that
Yeah,
animal had their head stuck in a jar for days. I oh, oh, my
actually,
heart just melted.
back in 2023 on Christmas Day, I got a cat stuck in a jar. His head was stuck in a jar on Christmas Day for about 2 or 3 days prior. I happened to be this was in New Jersey, and I happened to be in New Jersey for Christmas, so I was able to make the 30-minute drive to where the cat was stuck and freed it. It's since been adopted. That made all the news networks, Channel 7, Channel 12, all the news networks.
It is a good holiday story, thank goodness. But oh my gosh, that could go completely on another way. So then, when people see, what can the average person, what should they do first? I know there's no one thing, but should they try to I think they should try to rescue first and then call for help, right?
Um, I, yeah,
Or call and then rescue.
that depends. Sometimes people are too afraid to rescue the animal themselves, so the best thing they can do is just reach out for help. But if they're able to and they feel comfortable, they can always put a garbage pail on the animal with holes on the top to keep the animal contained, so the animal doesn't wander away before a rehabber gets to them. Because a
Mm.
lot of times people will reach out for help and then leave the scene, and the animal's long gone before anyone gets there, which isn't fair to the rehabber's time or the rescuer's time.
Wow, I never thought of that. So putting a garbage, got to get holes in that garbage, or I mean, people can always. I always have a carrier in my car too, a big carrier, so maybe it could stand that on its. I don't know.
Yeah,
You have to be very.
sometimes people are too afraid and they think the best thing they can do is just reach out for help. They're not comfortable in getting near a wild animal. They don't realize the animal is probably more afraid of them. They think the animal's going to charge at them or attack them, but it's not the case.
Not the case. They're usually more scared of you than they're frozen with fear, right?
Yeah,
And
they're
so
just trying to they're just trying to live their life like you and I in
they're just
peace.
trying to survive. Yeah. So would you recommend that maybe after this, for homework, people look up their list of rehabbers in their own town, right, in their own city, and have that on hand? And then there's also an app called Animal Help Now.
Correct. Yeah, Animal Help Now lists all the local rescuers and rehabbers in the area, and there's also a group on Facebook called Long Island Emergency Animal Rescue Group. That's local to Long Island though, so I don't know. People might be from different areas. There's also a Long Island Wildlife Rehab Group, but if you're in a different area, you can always search for local groups near you, and you can chat with rehabbers or rescuers in real time.
Okay. Yeah, do some research now before you come across an emergency. And maybe if folks have resources, they're welcome to put them in the chat, in the comment section there as well. And we're certainly open to any questions. So, I would be remiss, since most of the folks who follow AAC are vegans and animal rights activists, if you could, tie together the dots, connect the dots between veganism and rescue.
Yeah, I mean, veganism is a rescue. You can save hundreds of animals a year by simply just not eating meat. If everyone in the world went vegan, slaughterhouses would cease to exist, and they would save so many animals from being bred into captivity, which ultimately are killed for human consumption.
Yeah. Yes, I'll just repeat what you said because it is true. You'll save more animals by going vegan than we ever will by rescuing or protesting, no matter what. And have you ever had the opportunity to rescue an escaped farm animal or an endangered, life-threatening situation with a goat or a cow or anything, or not really?
Uh, yeah, I rescued a few pigs that escaped from slaughter. I've rescued ducks. I've rescued chickens. I've rescued almost every type of animal imaginable. I don't remember
Wow.
the stories offhand, but I just remember the pigs escaped from a slaughterhouse or sacrifice.
Wow. Yeah, we see those videos. It's heartbreaking. How did they know to call you? I mean, it's a good thing they did.
I mean, at this point, everyone just has my number, so if they can't go, they just reach out to me.
Right.
Sometimes other
Yeah.
rescuers reach out to me for assistance because some rescues are a two-person job.
Yeah. Oh, I bet the bigger animals.
Yeah,
This is right tricky. So tricky to be able to, yeah, get them to safety. Not as easy as just picking an animal up, or I don't know. They're all hard. They're certainly all hard. So,
yeah.
I almost want to ask you how rewarding. I know you're not in it for yourself. You want to save as many lives as possible, and that's your mission. But I just want to thank you even now because, and on the same wavelength, it must feel gratifying each time you save a life, and then of course the next day you have to save another.
Yeah, it's the best feeling in the world knowing that the animal will have a second chance at life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love the feeling afterward after the animal's safe.
Yeah, John. I mean, it's just amazing that you have found your place in the animal rights movement, in the animal liberation movement. It's a very essential place that not everybody could do it. Everybody does what they do differently, but our live stream is called, Rescue is Activism. So you agree with that. How is rescue absolutely a form of activism, especially when you're using it as education?
Yeah, well, I mean, um, animals on the street, they definitely need help, and anyone is capable of being a rescuer. There's no, like I said earlier, there's no special skill or anything required to save an animal's life.
Hmm. Yeah, so folks can get started. It's really direct action. It's hands-on direct action. There's no delay. It's saving a life without delay. If you're,
Correct.
as long
Yeah.
as you can, as long as you can do that. And you're also showing people that animals want to live and that they're trying to get to safety and that they suffer and they feel pain and they're having an emotional reaction to being unsafe, an emotional reaction to the noise, an emotional reaction to even you as this stranger. I swear, John, they can tell that you're there to help them. Do you agree with me? It's your
Well,
energy that is always calm. Your voice is always calm. I think that they know the difference. This person's not trying to hurt me most of the time.
correct. Yeah, it's when you're doing rescue, it's always best to be calm because an animal can sense your energy. So don't like go into a rescue with like a lot of anxiety, or just stay as calm as possible.
Yeah, super
And and
important.
and use very low, like slow movements, low, like don't make too much noise because that just freaks an animal out. The less noise the
Mm,
better, and the slower the movements the better.
slow movements. That's good. That's a good reminder because a lot of our instincts, our knee-jerk reaction is move quickly, hyper movements, but slow, controlled,
Yeah,
quiet.
every rescue is different. Sometimes you do have to use quick movements, like if an animal is on the highway and it's a quick grab, to just use a quick grab. But sometimes to net a cat, you do have to go very slow. There's no rescue that's the same.
Right. Yeah, but I also say that, one of the characteristics that you seem to have is that confidence. And people can build that with practice, but I feel like you have to almost envision the outcome. Like if you're envisioning that it's going to go wrong, sometimes that's what will happen. At least that's been my
Yeah, a
experience
lot.
with local cat.
On my way to a rescue, a lot of times I always think about what can go wrong. Actually, I always think about the worst outcomes, but and I just pray for the best.
Yeah.
That's always
That's
that's always the hardest part for me.
Yeah, get a handle on the negative thoughts and try to kind of cancel those in your mind and think about why you're there and what you want to achieve, and you're going to hold fast to that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do this.
so
I do this full time, and the negative thoughts still overpower me sometimes.
of course. Of course, yeah. Yeah, because you can't save them all. You try to save them all. You might think back on, you know, old rescues, but you're learning more and more as you go along, getting better and better at it. So we're open to we're going to wrap up in a little bit. But will we have time for another question or two. But John, is there anything I want to ask you how people can get involved with your work or support you, and about your merch, because you have merch. Are you wearing your merch? Are you
I
right
am
now
actually.
wearing?
I'm wearing one of my shirts with bunch of pictures of me holding a different cat, and on the back it actually said animal rescuer with the Oakley crab, a screenshot from the video of me catching Oakley midair. So
Amazing.
they can look at johndebacker.com if they want to purchase this, or they can
Okay.
follow me on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah, that's one way people can support you, by buying your merch, and it's just great merch to wear. People will ask, "Who's that guy?" I love that someone made that. That is so
Is
cool, with
this
all
a
your most
is
rescues.
this sorry, is it backward for you? I can't tell if it's backwards or is it right way.
No, it's not backwards.
It's not
I'm
okay.
reading it the right way. It
Okay,
says
just
Debacker.
checking. Yep.
You're like your own brand, sort of.
Yeah.
The backer, the cat rescuer, the cat guy, the cat. That's good. That just gets the word out. It just, the more you can be well known and be on people's lips, the better off the animals, are. So, John, is there anything that you want to share that I forgot to ask you, or you think needs to be added at this point?
Um, I don't think we mentioned about animals that become stuck in nets, like soccer nets or outdoor baseball nets. It's very important that if you're not using a net actively, that you put the net away, because the animal will walk through and become tangled. And a lot of times they become so badly injured that they need further medical care.
That's such a good point. You, yeah. So you've rescued a lot of animals trapped in nets, with all kinds of animals. I bet birds.
Possum, bird. Actually, there was a deer stuck in a net a few weeks ago in Huntington. We had the police, the DEC show up, and another rescuer. That was pretty intense because deer are pretty aggressive animals and pretty large. Eventually, the deer was freed and ran off.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up, the nets, because are there any other ways that people can like wildlife proof their yards, especially if you live near woods? Is there anything else to do to prevent animals from getting hurt that you can think of? Is it fencing or what else besides getting rid of nets maybe? Is there anything else?
I
Oh,
mean,
and what about garbage? You have to watch not to put your garbage out so people can get it.
oh yeah, about the nets, definitely put the like soccer nets away when not in use. Don't leave it just laying in the yard. And in terms of fencing, I mean that's a tough one because people aren't gonna just get rid of the fencing. Just make sure the holes are big enough for an animal to squeeze through, or small enough where an animal can fit through. Don't leave it
Okay.
like in the middle. And about the garbage, definitely crush the can so the animal can't like fit their head in the can,
Oh, yes.
or clean them out so there's no food residue in the jars.
God, that's so important.
Yeah, they can either
That's
crush
super
them or
important.
clean them.
Yeah. Or so our back end guy is asking if you can center yourself in the frame a little more.
Oh, sorry, I forgot I was showing the hoodie.
Oh, right, you're showing the hoodie. That's it. No
Yeah,
problem.
I
Okay.
forgot to go back to
Oh,
myself.
no, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Okay. So, any maybe final tips in terms of because sometimes animals will get into people's homes. I know that's a whole other sort of, and then they wind up calling. Sometimes, tell people, John, don't call pest control. I mean, I guess they have to, but they're gonna kill them. They're gonna euthanize them. They're gonna like. What's your best
Yeah,
advice for keeping them out of the home? You have to make sure you have no cracks and holes in your house. I
yeah.
guess. So,
Unfortunately, people do call exterminators, and exterminators by law they do have to drown them or kill them in any way possible. And I would highly avoid calling any exterminator or pest control company. There's many humane options, like there's raccoon rehabbers, there's possum rehabbers, there's rehabbers for all types of animals. And if you have an animal in your attic or whatever, just make sure there's no babies before removing the animal, because those babies will just suffer and starve to death, and then you'll have dead babies up in your attic, and that
yeah.
won't be pleasant.
How can you tell if there might be babies? Is there a way to tell, like by looking at the mother, whether they're look like they're nursing?
I mean, sometimes you can tell if you see nursing nipples on the animal, but sometimes it's hard to tell if the animal's so wild.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely a whole conversation to learn even more about how to be a wildlife, how to live in harmony with wildlife. There's a question here from someone. Any tips for birds with wire on their feet?
What type of wire? If it's
I don't know.
probably should see. I wouldn't know how to advise without knowing what type of wire. I mean, can the wire be cut off, or does it need medical attention, like a rehabber? And what location's that at? Does she mean like a fishing
Yeah.
hook type wire?
Well, I don't know. What would you do in that case if it was fishing wire, or what would you do?
It
What
depends.
other kind
Yeah,
of wire?
if it's fishing hook, then it depends how deep the hook is. If it's not as deep, they can just cut it off and let the bird free. Or if it's too deep, it might need a rehabber or further medical care. If it's
Mm-hmm.
Long Island, there's a place called Sweetbriar Nature Center, or Evelyn Alexander, or the Star Foundation, or Volunteers for Wildlife. They're all rehab centers that'll treat the animal until it can be released.
Okay.
But if it's, I'm not really sure what type of wire she's talking about.
Depends. Maybe there's probably videos on YouTube for help with that. But I will mention Raptor Truck in New Jersey.
Uh,
That's where I've had birds. They're great there for rehabbing and helping and
and
treatment as
also,
well.
if a bird is flighted, sometimes they are very hard to catch
Mm.
because as soon as you get near them, they might just take off. So,
And let's remind folks when you're putting plastic into your recycling, cut the plastic up, right? Cut those jars up as much
yeah,
as
what type
right.
of the plastic jars? Oh, yeah, definitely cut them up, crush the lids, and clean them out just so an animal doesn't get tempted to go in the jar or whatever to look for food.
Right. Yeah. All right. Last call for questions, folks, because we're going to wrap up. Any other final words, John? Anything else hopeful? What are you hopeful about? Are you
I mean, I really
hopeful
wish
about?
more. Yeah, I really wish more people would get involved in saving animals and leave the drama out of animal rescue. we're all on the same team. We're all on the same team to save the animals together, and it's possible for humans to coexist with animals. There's no need to be killing animals for pleasure or anything like that.
No, that's correct. Yes, we need more animal rescuers. Leave the drama at home. Forget about that. And you know what? You know what I'm hopeful about, John, is I see a lot more younger people in their teens and early 20s, coming to animal rights activism, wanting to get involved. So that makes me hopeful. Maybe somebody's going to see you now and say, "Yeah, rescue. That's where I want to. That's where I want to focus my activism." And we love that. We think that would be great, don't you think?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, we need young blood in rescue. People that
Yes.
are brave to like run across highways and climb trees and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I don't want to keep you too much longer because I know you're super busy. I'm so appreciative of your time. I know you just finished a transport right before we started this live. You drove a rescued kitty that you just rescued today to the next step, from a rescue that was going to take her. So, we really appreciate that. And just on behalf of all the animals that you have rescued and all the animals that you will rescue, thank you. Thank you for being an inspiration to activists and just the animals. If they have a voice, they certainly do. And if they had a speaking voice, they would say thank you. So thank you, John.
And thank you. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
You're
Take care.
welcome. So as we wrap up, please register for our New York Fur Free Weekend, November 27th through 30th, 4 days of action targeting the fur industry. Please donate to the Convergence if you can. Hopefully we can drop the link in the comment section here. And speaking of that, for as little as $2 a month, please consider becoming a patron by finding AAC on Patreon. Your donations allow AAC to continue to provide free educational resources for activists, which ultimately saves more animals. If you're interested in becoming a mentor or a mentee or want to get involved, please visit our website. Please hit subscribe here on our channel, smash that bell, and give us a like. And my final message: compassion is a starting point, but it is not enough. We all know that there is no change without action. I hope the rescue stories you've heard tonight have lit a fire within you to act now. Act boldly, act swiftly. The animals are out there right now, living on the streets, stuck in dumpsters, trapped in cages, injured on the roadways, running for their lives. If you see them, please do something. AAC thanks all individual rescuers and rescue organizations for their tireless work for this movement. So until next time, AAC signing off.